Namaste and greetings from Indic Academy. It's such an honor to be with Sri M sir, and we are really privileged to be able to share this beautiful evening where we are going to witness the launch of your remarkable journey, Walking with M, which chronicles the journey of yours as you embarked on an epic 7,500-kilometer odyssey again across India, traversing 11 states from Kanyakumari to Kashmir.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Bangalore traffic can be really horrible, as you might have experienced.
I don't like to say horrible for anything, but yeah, Bangalore traffic is a test for everybody.
So I spent my time coming on this 1 hour journey to Chaudhaya Hall, and Chaudhaya itself is very famous in Bangalore for music, listening to your bhajans. So, Naav Karo Mere Par. It's so beautiful. We don't need any philosophy, any text, any shastra. In one tune, you take us to the other side. Could I trouble you for a short rendition?
But there is no musical instrument. I just give you 2 lines and then we can carry on.
Yes.
नाव करो मेरे पार हो शंकर भोला नाव करो मेरे पार. This is the refrain.
So beautiful, so beautiful. So in this walk, which you did over a couple of years, you have taken with you scores of people, both physically and from their homes in your mind, uniting them with your ideas and teachings. So could you tell us something about your own spirit of Parivrajaka Avastha, or the wandering spirit, which took you to the Himalayas at the age of 19? Both the Shastras as well as Hatha Yoga show us the path for this. Which would you recommend for the modern seekers?
It's not a good idea to kind of put everything in a framework and separate them together. So, Hatha Yoga, usually people use it as a misnomer, thinking that is only good for physical exercise. Not so. In fact, the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, which is the standard text on Hatha Yoga, written by Soatma Rama, who came from the Nath tradition to which I belong. So for us, Hatha does not mean just yoga asanas and pranayam and all that. It's basically to do with the 2 psychic nadis which are in a human being, which are called Ida and Pingala. The Ida nadi is the negative one, so it's called the moon. When I say negative, it means like plus minus, not negative. So this is the moon, which is called Tha, and the Pingala nadi, which is positive, which is fire, which is hot. It's Surya nadi, and that is called Ha. So actually, Hatha means to bring together the heat and the cold from the moon and the sun nadis in our system to change our mindsets and improve our minds and take them to a higher level. So this is what is intended. I also think that it's possible to do it through bhakti, through jnana, through Raja Yoga, and what you called Hatha Yoga. I would say yoga. I would say Abhyasa Yoga is a better way of describing it. All these paths are open to those who want to go more spiritually. Intention should be there. And some people practice to increase their energies, to increase their health, to beautify themselves, and so on. And there are many reasons. But if the intention is spiritual fulfillment, then you can apply any one of these paths, move forward, depending on your predilections, your background, and so on and so forth.
So today, a lot of India is seeking the Himalayas. All of us are constantly booking yatras or going to Char Dhams or going on pilgrimages. But there is everything to be found there. All the suvidha is there, all the fanfare is there. But one thing which a person of your kind of seeking seeks, solitude, is not to be found. So you have also mentioned that in your first trip to Rishikesh, you didn't find the kind of spirituality that you were seeking. What is that
May I
quality?
correct
Okay.
it a bit? When I went to the Himalayas, I was 19 years old. Now I'm 75. So many years ago. Rishikesh and Badri Kedar higher up were not like it's today. Of course, it was Char Dham, people used to come and so on, but it was not crassly commercial or it was quiet. Rishikesh, you could still find spots to meditate. This was the situation. When I say that, what did you say? I said,
You said that even in those days,
yeah,
you
even
did
in
not find the
yeah,
spirituality you were seeking.
yeah, because I was looking for a personal teacher who will take me step by step into understanding of the reality. And what I saw was ashrams headed by monks, which is all right, but not enough for me as a seeker because I did not find a personal teacher. It was all like mass
Yeah.
phenomenon. But still, it was much, much better than what it is today. Today, Delhi is close by. It has become a picnic spot on Saturday, Sunday. And it's no more what it is, what it was. Uh, so I think your Himalayas, even though I went at that time, what you seek can be found in your own home. If you find a place where you can sit quietly and do your sadhana, which you may not find there today, especially.
So some people today are laughing and mocking exactly what you mentioned and saying that everything has become a kind of quote sarva dharma vada pav offering
Very
by
true.
spiritual
Very true.
leaders.
Very true.
And
And
the
the
same,
fault lies in those people who call themselves gurus. This is the problem.
so they're talking about different darshanas, deities, mantras, kriyas in the same breath. So, for a new initiate or a seeker, how do we navigate this? How do we find
Hmm.
for a new seeker, and how do we find this guru figure and this wisdom that
It
when there
is
is
a
so
very
much of
difficult question because I don't want to blame anybody or anything. But the fact is, I think the sincerity of seeking the absolute rather than temporary conveniences and so on, if it is there in our minds very strongly, I don't think you need to search for a teacher because the teacher will be there. But don't think that the teacher should uh, have the same definitions that you have given to a spiritual guru. May not be. The man in your garden who does your gardening regularly may be a great spiritual teacher. We won't recognize that because we have an idea, an image of a teacher. It is time now to break those images. Adi Shankaracharya, when he talked about Advaita Vedanta, how to reach the self, the technique was naidi, not this, not this. Now this, not this should also be applied to when you are seeking a teacher. So that you come across somebody who's really, really serious about these matters, who has no paraphernalia and who doesn't wear any special robes or who can relate with you, sit and talk. I lived with Maheshwarnath Babaji who was like that. And his attempt was to put me on my own feet and not make me dependent on him. And he did not ask me for my checkbook. So if these things can be taken care of, and if your intention is really, really strong, I'm sure you will find a proper teacher.
suppose we don't find the teacher
You
for
will.
some reason. Would you say that we go back to original texts and follow in the North tradition, follow the
Any other tradition also.
or in the
Mhm.
South Indian
Mhm.
Shaivite tradition?
Certainly. But unfortunately, the texts which were written those days, people are not able to read today because we don't know the language. Well, there are some texts in Tamil, which of course people can read. Sanskrit has become a premium. Hardly anybody can read. So I think self-study, when Patanjali describes sadhana pada, how to practice, he starts with swadhyaya. Swadhyaya, he starts with tapas. Tapas, swadhyaya, ishara pranidhanani, kriya yoga. This is how he says. So when I say kriya yoga, it should include self-study. Tapasya need not mean that you should stand on one leg in the water and do all that is for the Treta Yuga, not for Kali Yuga. It's not going to work. So tapas is derived from the Sanskrit word tapa, which means heat. Tap, heat.
Put yourself in a.
Put yourself in a situation where
Yes.
you can keep your mind out of the usual things which you like to indulge in. So there is a friction generated between you and your thoughts that are trying to run away. That creates an internal heat. This is tapasya. So that and swadhyaya. So I think before going and looking for a guru and things like that, if your intention is clear, start reading the texts which are given to us. If you know Tamil, for instance, there is a beautiful text written by Tirumular called Tirumantiram. Anybody who reads Tamil can read it. It's very simple Tamil. Then, good translations from people who do not fall into any cult or category can be read. These are some of the ways where you can start and at least know where you are going and what you want. Then, if you are ready for it, a teacher will come. A good teacher will come. I'm telling you. My case, I was so hell bent on finding Maheshwarnath Babaji came to my garden. So I think that kind of intention attracts help from the other ways. You can pay some money and take a teacher and that's it's up to the person.
Most people today, the common man, is trying to connect to divinity through rituals. We feel doing this homas, yajnas, observing festivals is our because it's within a limited time. You finish it, you feel a certain satisfaction, you feed brahmanas, you are ticking some boxes.
Yeah.
But in your satsang on Kashmir Shaivism, Adi Shankara and Christ in Finland, you quote Shankara Bhagavad Pada and say that one can attain Parabrahmam only through Viveka and Vairagya.
That is Shankara's quote, not me.
Yeah, you quote him, I say.
Yeah.
But however, most Shankara followers are also Srividya Upasakas, which gives the impression of ritual worship.
Yes.
So could you tell us what what is meant by throwing away of rituals during puja and pilgrimage?
No, you cannot. You see, that approach, which is purely Advaitic, which requires Viveka and Vairagya, two things, and discarding of all that is not real, is true, but every average human being cannot suddenly jump into it. Therefore, Vedic rituals have been provided so that at least for some time your mind is grounded on something other than the outside world. I don't think one needs to discard it so early. As you continue to do that, a day will come when you will say, this is not enough, I need to go deep inside and figure out what is there. Then comes the step called Viveka. Already Viveka has started by then. And when Viveka goes deep, which means discrimination, you begin to discriminate between what is real and unreal. And then then comes Vairagya, because then you want what is real and you don't want what is not real. So I personally would think some form of ritual is not bad at all. Even the mathas, the Shankaracharyas perform their own rituals because it's a daily practice which disciplines the mind and takes you. And you mentioned Sri Vidya now. There are people here who suddenly see me, can you give me Sri Vidya? I said, it's not a joke. Sri Vidya is actually a set of sounds, it is Shabda Brahma. mantra shastra, but certain sounds have been set up in a certain rhythm, and it has to be associated with your inner chakras, and you should know how to chant. Now, that also helps to open your mind out and understand the truth which is beyond the ordinary. Adi Shankara, who is the biggest and the most important commentator on all the Upanishads, he wrote also Viveka Chudamani, is also the author of Saundarya Lady. You see, so it's not a contradiction. Tantra says most human beings cannot do Vedanta. They can start with what is in front of them, which is the world. So, how to get from this world into that which is beyond is the whole process of a ceremony. So, I don't, I can discard it maybe, but I don't think people should suddenly discard. Then you have to take sannyas. And sannyas is not a joke. I respect sannyas as a state, but I don't think everybody can take sannyas. Uh, I sometimes feel that this whole misunderstanding happened because we discarded the ancient Vedic system of brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and then sannyas. And that last sannyas was completely up to you. The other three went step by step. The day it happened that from brahmacharya you suddenly jump into sannyas, I think the days of sannyas getting destroyed started. I'm not saying everybody, but it's what happens in grihastha, family life, you learn through experience. There is no better ego breaker than your own wife. I mean, I'm not saying my wife, I'm saying general. Or your husband, the other way around. So that is in most cases. Exception I can understand. Like Shankara, at the 12 years he had mastered all the Vedas. For such a person I can't say anything. But generally it is good to go.
Someone was mentioning during the walk you conducted your daughter's wedding.
I did
So that
grihastha
is, yeah, that is so amazing. How do
because
you
she's
combine?
here. My daughter wanted to marry a man who is now my son-in-law. During the walk of hope started, they wanted to get married. So before the walk, I got them engaged. So they said that we will marry after the walk. But then when I entered Bangalore, they said we want to get married. So I had to quickly do some things and get it done. I thought then I can be free to walk. So this is what happened.
Yeah. So you can
My
combine.
son-in-law and my daughter both are here.
Yeah, I met him. Yeah. So, could you tell us what is the Kashmir Shaivism to Sri Vidya connection vis-a-vis the Natha tradition to Sri Vidya connection according to you?
Sri Vidya is same everywhere. It's uniform. Now, people have many ideas about Sri Vidya. Sri Vidya means the Devi. Now, the respect for the divine as a feminine energy goes back as far as the Rig Veda. Rig Veda, the Sri Shukta, is one of the most important chantings. Those who do Upasana, it's about Lakshmi in various forms. And there it's compared to Brahman, to Parabrahman itself. They say she is Parabrahman and no difference. Now, Sri Vidya is a technique of Tantra by which this world you live in is utilized to go above it. Because, you know, very often in sadhana, you think you're free of everything, then suddenly some desire which is hidden comes up and you don't know what to do with it. It becomes an obstacle, you're stuck. If you go through this path, which appreciates and allows and understands the world, therefore Tantra says bhogo yoga, which means yoga. That doesn't mean orgies, drunken orgies in cremation grounds. That's not the meaning of it. It's misunderstood. Which means enjoy, see, oh, there's all this is to it, and give it up. So that finally giving up is important. So that requires a proper teacher. Unfortunately, when you say Sri Vidya, they'll give you a mantra and you keep on, which is also okay. I'm not saying that, but the real Sri Vidya Upasana is Sri Vidya, which means the technique by which the understanding of the truth, which is to take you to the Supreme Brahman, is realized. This is Sri Vidya. I can't tell you the letters and all that here in the public, but
And so what role does Devi play? Like we have you've had access to your gurus, individuals. You say he came near the jackfruit tree. There are people who say the Mahavidyas, they have a personal relationship with Devis. So is that something accessible to everybody?
possible. I wouldn't accept all claims as genuine, but it's possible because anybody can claim anything.
So have you had experience of
Oh,
access to the divine
yes,
directly? So
yes.
what is your experience like?
Well, it's when you go to what is called Shivam in Tantra, there it is all quiet, calm, no movement. But it's not the non-movement of inertia, but it's a moment when everything is settled down. It's beyond sattva, it's not a tamoguna of laziness. No. So when you go there, but the human mind would rather relate to something which is concrete, which is like a mother, like a divine being. So that is where the worship of the Devi, divinity, comes into the picture. And in the southern, what we call the Samaya Marga, the deity of Sri Vidya is Rajarajeshwari Tripura Sundari. But in the north, especially in Kashmir, there is the Vamachara, which is the left hand path, where the Dasha Mahavidyas are worshipped, starting with Bhadrakali. Now, personally, I think without a proper teacher, none of these things should be done. Not by reading books. Certainly not. Because, for instance, Bhadrakali, she is the first Dasha Mahavidya. People say, I'm going to do Shakti Upasana and start. Now, this is very difficult. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, a person like that could, it's so difficult to do it. Kali is described in the Tantras as Karalavadhanam Goram Muktakeshim Chaturbhujam, Kalikam, Dakshinam, Divya, Mundamala Vibhushitam. So she is wearing a garland of skulls, human heads, not skulls, human heads. Unless you're ready to put your head also into that garland, don't touch Kali.
What about the Saumya Rupams?
Saumiru is Tripura Sundari, Rajarajeshwari. So I'm saying, let's do that. Let's go to. See, we all need Lakshmi outside and inside. So those things like reading of Saundari Lahiri, reading of Lalita Sahasranama, Trishati, these are descriptions of divine energy in the female form, which relates to us. The mind gets attracted by it. Better than sitting in a bar, you know, and then you begin to drink what is happening inside. The divine Amrit you start drinking, and then we are also in some way drunkards. We are also intoxicated, but only we don't have any external substance to go in. It's inside.
In some
This
practice, that
intoxication is
also.
Devi.
So,
Yeah, in Vamachara, I was going to tell you, they do that, but it has to be done under proper
controlled
supervision. Otherwise, it will just end up as that and nothing else.
because it has a effect on the physical body, which
So,
we can be fooled into thinking it is the original.
exactly. But it is an imitation of the original, and therefore, for some people, maybe it's a good idea. But a teacher should be there who can take you out of it when time is come. Otherwise, you get stuck and sunk in it. It's the same with appreciating beauty and all that, which is described in Tantra. In fact, this time in London, for the last 3 days retreat, I did the Soundarya. Beyond a certain point, I said, we are not doing it because you might think I'm teaching Kama Sutra. It's so.
Yeah.
I love
But
it.
sir, on
And
that
Shankara is a sannyasi.
but on that point, if you see in our traditions, karma was not at all taboo or the way it is today. Should we be hesitant
No,
about?
no, no. Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha are equally important in the Vedas. But among some people who discover that Dharma, Artha, and Kama, while it is wonderful to enjoy, have their own limitations and also bring sorrow in some way, look for moksha only. That is the only thing. There is nothing, nobody frowns against dharma, artha, and kama. All three. But that kama and artha should be governed by dharma, which is why dharma is put in front. Virtuousness is very important.
So in your you have walked for so long, and at I won't say at your age because you're probably much younger than
No,
us
no,
in
no, no.
spirit.
Those days I was not so old. I am now 75.
Okay. So, the yogis in the Himalayas, they had access to certain herbs and medicines which actually helped with vitality. So, would you recommend that, to increase our own spiritual vitality, should we look at
Spiritual
access?
vitality, yes. But physical vitality, if you get weak, you should be able to handle it. You need not age prematurely. You can continue with your life. But if your mind is anchored in the spirit, there is no harm in trying to make your physical life stronger and continue. Uh,
Mm.
but sometimes there are herbs, there are practices. We call it Kaya Kalpa. I don't discuss it often because if you say that, the only cue that will come will be for Kaya Kalpa. Everybody wants to be young.
Yeah. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
It's
Thank you.
such a honor and privilege.
Thank you very much.
Namaste.
Namaste.